Imagine walking along a peaceful street only to stumble upon a ghastly sight overhead. A body hanging, yes, terrifying. Within the depths of the cartel underworld, their twisted sense of power finds expression through the macabre spectacle of hanging bodies from bridges as a brutal torture method. In a chilling reality, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel is the primary criminal organization responsible for a wave of violence on both sides of the border. This ruthless cartel has taken their fight to unprecedented levels, even resorting to shooting down a military helicopter with a rocket-propelled grenade. It might be tempting to believe that the days of cartel violence are long gone, or that they reached their peak with figures like Pablo Escobar or El Chapo. Unfortunately, that's far from the truth. Violence in Mexico has hit an all-time high, and the CJNG is at the heart of it all. Since their rise to power, they have brought a new level of brutality and torture methods to the scene, leaving devastated communities in their wake. Violent deaths have tragically become the norm, as bodies are cruelly displayed by hanging them from bridges or subjecting them to horrifying acts of burning and mutilation, all intended to send a horrific message to anyone or everyone who dares to eye on them. The CJNG doesn't discriminate when it comes to their targets. From rival cartels to law enforcement officers and even innocent civilians, no one is safe from their wrath. Fear has become the currency they trade in, spreading terror throughout Mexico. This is the chilling tale of the CJNG, the most violent and ruthless cartel to have ever existed. Let's take you back to the origins of a slightly older cartel known as the Gulf Cartel's Army. This distinctive group marked a significant shift in the way drug cartels operated, as they comprised specially trained soldiers, Mexican deserters who had received training in the United States. This change brought about a new era of violence, departing from the image of tattooed gang members wielding pistols and knives. Instead, cartels adopted a militarized fighting style resembling trained military units. This transformation didn't stop there. The influence of the Gulf Cartel's army spread throughout Mexico, influencing other cartels to adopt similar tactics. However, there was a distinct divergence when Los Zetas came into the picture. Unlike other cartels where violence was seen as a means to an end, Los Zetas glorified violence itself. They even went so far as to reward their most politically astute soldiers with medals of honor. In 2010, Los Zetas broke away from the Gulf Cartel, becoming a formidable cartel in their own right. During their reign, homicides in Mexico skyrocketed, and the crime scenes became increasingly gruesome. Amidst their obsession with violence, they neglected the importance of maximizing profits. In contrast, rival cartels like the Sinaloa cartel remained more organized and powerful, especially in controlling trafficking routes. This serves as a reminder that violence often perpetuates more violence, while a well-organized and strategic approach can yield greater power and influence. El Mencho, the notorious leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, drew inspiration from Los Zetas to create an even more brutal and powerful criminal organization. Born in July 1966, he grew up poor, working as an avocado farmer. In the 1980s, he illegally migrated to the U.S., but due to his involvement in numerous petty crimes, he was eventually deported. In the 1990s, El Mencho joined the Millennial Cartel, but after its leaders were either arrested or killed, the cartel splintered. It was then that El Mencho formed his own cartel, initially known as Los Torcidos, or the Twisted Ones. The Millennial Cartel eventually merged into CJNG, Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, giving rise to a new wave of terror. CJNG, above all other criminal organizations, is responsible for many deaths. Inspired by Los Zetas' militarized army, El Mencho took their concept to the next level. Every member of the CJNG is equipped with military attire and carries sophisticated firearms during their operations, creating an intimidating presence. Their army is highly structured, organized, and trained in warfare. This means they are always prepared to launch an attack or defend their headquarters. Moreover, it is rare for them to defend their positions solely. The CJNG's philosophy revolves around preemptive strikes, a kill or is killed mentality. In April 2015, the CJNG executed a deadly ambush on dozens of police officers, cornering them and relentlessly firing at them. Tragically, 15 officers lost their lives. Another heartbreaking incident occurred in Aguadilla, where 14 officers were killed, and the ordeal was captured on camera. The CJNG's strategy is to control, track, and attack authorities. Since its establishment in 2009, homicide rates in Jalisco have surged, rendering certain parts of Mexico unsafe to reside in, all thanks to their actions. Let's tell you all a story. Once upon a time, a man named L. Mitchell stumbled upon a piece of information. He discovered that the Mexican military had plans to apprehend two smaller bosses from the CJG. Determined to divert the attention of the authorities, L. Mitchell devised an operation that involved creating chaos elsewhere. It was an audacious move to assert the dominance of El Mencho and send a clear message. His men set fire to 25 establishments in Guanajuato, randomly shooting at people and even causing car explosions. It's astounding to think about how the CJG evolved from humble beginnings to become one of the wealthiest cartels in history. Their rise to power originated from an unexpected source: avocados. Yes, you read that right. They started as avocado farmers and then gradually shifted their focus to manufacturing chemical precursors for drugs like methamphetamine. It's quite ironic when you consider that the same country producing avocados for the US market also became a major player in the drug trade. The CJG didn't rely solely on fear or brutality to assert their control. They displayed remarkable resourcefulness and adaptability. In July, footage of a CJNG convoy showcased a group of gunmen who called themselves the Elite. They pledged their loyalty to Elemento, a prominent figure within the cartel. These individuals were armed to the teeth, wielding assault rifles equipped with grenade launchers, heavy machine guns, and even the awe-inspiring 50 caliber sniper rifle. The CJGG took pride in showcasing their formidable arsenal, making a statement about their power and influence. Another aspect that drives the CJG is their twisted philosophy of showcasing their unspeakable brutality. They firmly believe that by demonstrating the extent of their evil, people will be even more terrified of them. This strategy involves flaunting their weaponry and adopting a paramilitarized fighting style. Their arsenal includes high-caliber guns and even homemade tanks known as monstros. Their power is undeniably staggering. Many members of the CJG seem to be in complete denial about the true nature of their actions. Shockingly, some even revere El Mencho, the cartel's leader, as an honorable boss with a strong code of ethics. But the truth is that he manipulates his soldiers with cartel propaganda, forcing them to turn a blind eye to the atrocities committed by the organization. It's impossible to ignore that the CJG is responsible for heinous crimes. In a disturbing incident, they shot down a military helicopter using a rocket-propelled grenade. It's clear that El Mencho will go to extreme lengths to protect his own privacy. In fact, when they shot down the helicopter in 2022, their goal was to prevent the military from locating El Mencho. This shows just how seriously the drug lord takes his safety. The severity of El Mencho's crimes has made him the most wanted person in Mexico. The USA is offering a $10 million reward, while Mexico has given 30 million pesos for any information leading to his arrest. The actions of the CJG and their leader are deeply troubling. It's clear that their disregard for human life and their brazen attacks on authorities set them apart from other cartels. The consequences of their actions are devastating, and law enforcement agencies must continue their efforts to bring them to justice and put an end to the violence caused by this ruthless cartel. It is now well acknowledged worldwide that the Mexican government faces unprecedentedly difficult circumstances. The Guardian estimated that by the end of 2022, a shocking 26,000 people had been exterminated in Mexico. The past few years have witnessed an alarming surge in homicides, with an average of 94 lives lost daily in 2021 alone. The level of violence remains at an all-time high, and the CJG appears to have the upper hand in their confrontations with the police. They operate with a highly organized structure, enabling them to launch coordinated attacks against the Mexican government. The CJG, as one unified entity, has become a force to be reckoned with, using violence and fear as tools to manipulate and negotiate with politicians. Their objective is not merely to create chaos, but to wield violence and fear as currencies, which they can then employ in their negotiations. They have taken a page out of Pablo Escobar's playbook, adopting the infamous plata o plomo approach: either accept the bribe or face dire consequences. However, the CJG has taken this strategy to a new level, relying more on instilling fear and intimidation than traditional bribery. The CJG's brutality and fearsome reputation have made them a menacing presence both in Mexico and the United States, to the extent that there are discussions about designating them as an official terrorist organization. They are held accountable for the alarming rise in fentanyl and heroin crisis in the United States. The DEA has identified the CJG, also known as the Jalisco Cartel, as responsible for approximately 1/3 of the illicit drugs entering the country through various means, by land and by sea. The CJG now holds control over the two major ports responsible for receiving substances from China into Mexico. With an army stronger than ever before, the question arises, will the reign of terror ever come to an end? Rumors have emerged surrounding the elusive El Mitchell, a kingpin known for his extreme privacy. Apart from a few pictures, little is known about him. He has never addressed the public or spoken in front of a camera, always accompanied by heavily armed guards wherever he goes. In 2021, he seemed to disappear completely, fueling speculation that El Mitchell may have faced his long-awaited downfall. Rumors about El Mitchell's fate started circulating around 2020, when news surfaced that he had left the country. Speculation ranged from him being seriously ill to no longer being involved with the cartel. In February 2022, unverified reports emerged with even more important news. El Mitchell had allegedly passed away in a hospital due to respiratory issues. While this information hasn't been officially confirmed, there is some circumstantial evidence that could be seen as confirmation. A prominent Elemento loyalist named Jose Barnabasuela, known as La Vaca, and his cartel in Colima began spreading messages and displaying banners throughout the city, suggesting El Mitchell's demise. La Vaca's desertion from the cartel indicates a loss of trust in Elemento, as historically when a major kingpin falls, the entire cartel often crumbles with him. Pablo Escobar and Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo serve as notable examples. Does this mean the CJG is on the verge of collapsing as well? Or does the well-organized structure left behind by El Mitchell possess the strength to appoint a new leader? As of 2023, the CJG has already started fragmenting into smaller factions, engaging in wars against rival cartels and even within their own ranks.